저도 지압기 보면 대왕 소스.
We annually spend on military
President
Eisenhower's farewell address to the nation.
A large arms industry is new in the American experience. Economic, political, even spiritual. Hard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
Senator John Fitzgerald Kennedy wins one of the narrowest election victories in American history, 100,000 votes. Beautiful and elegant, signifying change and upheaval to the American public.
That all men are created equal.
War against the communist Castro dictatorship in Cuba by the CIA and angry Cuban in the disastrous Bay of Pigs invasion in April 1961 uses to provide air cover for the exiled Cuban and tried to manipulate him into ordering an all-out American invasion of Cuba. The world comes to the brink of nuclear war when Kennedy quarantines Cuba after announcing the presence of offensive Soviet. At the last moment, they turn back. The world breathes with relief. JFK has cut a secret deal with Russian Premier Khrushchev not to invade Cuba. Russian withdrawal of missiles. Himself embroiled in Laos and Vietnam.
I don't think that the war can be won out there.
Pax Americana, enforced on the world by American weapons of war. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures. And we are all mortal.
They're gonna kill Kennedy.
He's
been that way since they brought her in.
Assassination take place. Sniper.
3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. He has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
Boss, the president's been shot in Dallas 5 minutes ago.
Oh, no.
Only 3 bullets were found. Governor Connolly also appeared to have been hit. We're told a bullet entered the base of the throat and came out of the backside.
President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
He did so much for this country, for colored people.
God, I'm ashamed to be an American today.
Coming up over our heads from that fence up on the mole. His ear blew off, and he turns us real wide over on his stomach.
They're balling like they knew the man. Makes me want to puke.
If the president was shot.
I don't see anybody crying for all those thousands of Cubans. That bastard condemned to death and torture had a Bay of Pigs.
I heard shots from over there.
Well, I heard some shots from right over there.
That's what happens. They get together with the Jews and the Catholics. Bleeding heart. Camelot and smithereens.
Suspect in the killing of a Dallas police officer, J.D. Police are saying there could be a tie-in here to the murder of the president. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested by more than a dozen police officers. Officer Tippett was killed apparently with a revolver, which was found on Oswald.
Give him a medal for shooting Kennedy. Don't y'all know what Kennedy did?
I don't know what I am charged with, but I emphatically deny these charges.
That goofy Oswald kid would pull a stunt like an assassination. It's had me wondering about your loyalty. Going through my file. You've been looking through my files, haven't you?
You're trying to get paranoid. You really are. Enough here this summer already to write a book.
I always like my file.
Strange people.
You goddamn thing. It is your goddamn thing.
I didn't shoot anybody, no, sir. They have taken me in because of the fact I have lived in the Soviet Union. Nobody has told me anything except that I am accused of murdering a police.
Fair Play for Cuba Committee.
What did you do in Russia? And what happened to your eye?
Seems pretty cool to me for a man under pressure like
That's one psychopath too.
Be a dedicated Marxist and a fanatical supporter of Fidel Castro, an ultra-left-wing.
Dude, check out his record, find any friends or associates from last summer.
Not any doubt he's the killer. The law says beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty.
World War II Italian-made Mannlicher Carcano was ordered from a Chicago mailing house, E. Heidel. Post office box in March of 1963. Rifle that was used to assassinate the president.
This
That ties it up.
Christ, anybody can get a rifle in Texas.
And after an alleged homosexual incident with
These
a
backyard photos were found yesterday among...
He's a good man, good husband.
So it seems David Ferry drove off on Friday. I told Coleman he might have been a getaway pilot for Oswald.
What kind of source?
The anonymous kind, Chief.
Right.
I think I remember this guy, Ferry.
Be the source. Is he going to get shot?
Somebody cops now, bitch. Somebody just saved the Dallas DA a pile of work.
This is crazy.
Meeting with Henry Cabot Lodge, our ambassador to Vietnam, that the United States would continue its policy of aiding the new government of Vietnam.
David Ferry.
Right after your election, I congratulated you.
How could I forget? You make quite a first
He's
impression.
so busy.
I haven't met anybody named Oswald. Anybody told you that has to be crazy.
You knew this man under another name.
I never saw him before in my life.
You took a trip to Texas shortly after the assassination on Friday.
Yeah, I hadn't been there ice skating in many years, and I was with a couple of young friends, and we decided we wanted to go ice skating.
One of the most violent thunderstorms in recent memory.
Spur of the moment thing. Saturday night, drove to Galveston, stayed over there.
And then Sunday?
And goose hunting.
You bag any geese on this trip?
Boys got a couple.
But the boys told us they didn't get it.
We got out there where the geese were, and there were thousands of them all over.
You had no weapons in the car, Dave. Isn't it a bit difficult to hunt for geese without a shotgun?
Now, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrison. Then did we realize we had forgotten our
Just
shotguns?
remember this.
Stupid, right?
Before you, but I'm going to have to detain you for further questioning by the FBI.
Why? What's wrong?
Oh, it's simply not believable.
Really?
Thorough background check, the Bureau found no evidence that Mr. Ferry knew Lee Harvey Oswald's connection with the assassination of President Kennedy.
Young people, look, you can't tell a boy from a girl anymore. Off more Vietnam than we could possibly chew. Of course, it figures with that polecat Lyndon.
I think things have gone downhill since John Kennedy died. So.
On commission, fellas, were picking a manual bolt-action rifle in less than 6 seconds. I tell you, the first shot would always be the best. Here, the third shot's perfect. Then they got that crazy bullet zigzagging me 7 times. One pristine bullet that...
Skeptic.
I'd round up 100 of the world's best riflemen. Find out which ones were in Dallas that day.
Realize that Oswald was interrogated for 12 hours after the assassination? Nobody recorded a word of it. The federal agents just had to know that with no record, anything Oswald says is going to be innocent. If I were handled a minor felon like that, it'd be all over the papers. And this is the alleged murder of the president. No index. It's one of the sloppiest, most disorganized investigations I've ever seen.
That was 3 years ago. We've all tried so hard to put it out of our minds. You just keep digging it up again. Give you 1 hour to solve the case. So I can get these kids in bed. And then you're mine. You'll have to wait until morning.
Can I stay up another hour?
I don't. Good night, Doodlebugs. Good night.
1 hour, you hear?
Come up. I want to show you how Saturday night got event, all right?
Tramps and hobos.
Were all those questioned?
Yes, sir, they were taken to the station, eh?
But there were 3 cars that came in during this time, from around noon. Seemed to have something he was holding up to his mouth. In about 7 to 10 minutes before the shooting. Muddy up to the windows. They were standing behind a picket fence. They were looking up towards Maine and Houston. Flash of light or smoke or something, which caused me to feel that something...
No.
Nightmare.
You all right?
Oswald was given a Russian language exam as part of his Marine training only a few months before it defects to the Soviet Union.
It's 4:30 in the morning. I have 5 kids going to be awake in an hour.
I never knew it. Russian as a cat has for pajamas.
Books have gotten to your mind, Mr. Garrison.
And then this colonel he makes it. The touchdown here is not very intelligent because I beat him 3 games out of 5 the last time we played chess.
For what? So you'll be the only man in America that's read all 26 volumes of the
Do I have to
World
spell it out for you? He's trained in Russian. There's no accident. He's in Russia. God damn it. I've been sleeping for 3 years.
Sunday morning is not exactly fresh blood we're sniffing here, boss.
Old stains, Bill, but just as telling. 531 Lafayette Street. Remember whose office is?
Sure, Guy Bannister. Ex-FBI man.
Students infiltrate radical organizations on campus. The Anti-Communist League of the Caribbean. 34 Camp Street. 531 Lafayette Street. Same building, office upstairs. Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, how do we know his address was stamped on the pro-Castro leaflets he was handing out in the summer of '63 before Camp Street never appeared on the pamphlets again?
Yes.
He was arrested that day for fighting with some anti-Castro Cubans.
You lied to me, you hypocrite! Liar, you son of a bitch! Spirit's propaganda! Why do you hit me? Come on, you pick a
Stage incident. In jail, Oswald has a private session with Special Agent John Quigley that destroys his notes from the interview. The arrest gets him a lot of publicity and has...
I am not a communist. I'm Marxist-Leninist.
You are not a communist, but you are a Marxist-Leninist? What is the difference?
Minister before he was FBI was O&I. And what's that little saying there?
Nah, always O&I.
Well, they're standing in the heart of the United States government's intelligence community. And FBI there, all right? That's the CIA. That's the Secret Service. That's the O&I. Place for a communist to spend his spare time. We're going back into the case, Lou. I did not got Bannister beat you over the head. We were good friends for a long time.
More than 10 years.
And he never hit you before. Pistol whipped you with a .357 Magnum. It also says you had an argument about the information.
I didn't say that.
You have other information?
I didn't say that. All I know is that he died suddenly. They're taking care of their private highway, you know, as it came in for Guy. Not much did, but that's what was there. Dave Ferry. You know about him?
Yeah, we know Dave. Was he there?
He practically lived there. Candaga stuff, you know. They called it Operation Mongoose. They were going to train these Cuban exiles, you know, for another invasion of Cuba. Stockpiling arms, explosives.
All this right under the noses of the intelligence community.
CIA. You know, pilots and then black operators. In his camp up north of Lake Pontchartrain there, you know, Ferry was doing a lot of the training. Nazi types, mercenaries. Ferry does. Jesus, he was the craziest. I shut up the camps, you know, and confiscate the napalm, C4, and stuff like that. So I think that the G-men, they were just going through the motions.
Oswald is down on Canal Street handing out communist leaflets supporting Castro.
It's okay, Delphi. He's with us.
I saw him come in the office once, and he looked out of place. But he had something to do with money, because Bannister, you know, he never kissed anybody's ass. Ooh, he kissed it.
Was Kennedy ever discussed, Jack?
Not with me. Look, I gotta go. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hold on, Jack. Hold on. Nobody knows what we're talking about here, Jack.
So naive.
Bimbo in red. Mm-hmm. Lord.
5'2", then you tell the commission he's 5'8". Now, how the hell does a man shrink like that?
Phone talking to me about going to Dallas, repping Oswald.
Did you ever speak to Oswald in Dallas?
Hell no.
Your name getting a warrant commission, Dean.
Like I told to the Washington boys. Bertrand called that summer and asked me to help the kid upgrade his...
I'm Clay Bertrand, whatever.
If they were, why the hell didn't Bobby Kennedy prosecute it as Attorney General? He was his brother for crazy.
Communication problem, Dean. I know you know who Clay Bertrand is, all right? Now stop eating that damn crab meat and met grand juries. You've been lying to me. I'm gonna charge you with perjury. Right now, I took 9 judges on right here in New Orleans.
I answer that question you keep asking. If I give you the name of the big enchilada, you know, I mean like a bullet in my head, you dig? You're a mouse fighting a gorilla. Kennedy's as dead as that crab meat.
With the real identity of Clay Bertrand, well, your fat behind's going to the slammer. Now, you dig me?
You're as crazy as your mama. What you getting yourself into, Daddy-O?
C'est
The
pas
government's
mal.
gonna jump all over your head, Jimbo.
Out there with that swamp. Many of them going in there. What's up?
Hey, let's go, Willie.
Still keep for this time.
Yeah, I got nothing but time, Mr. Game's still here. Like a snake, sun itself on the road.
Clay Bertrand.
I met him sometime in...
He pay you for this?
$20 each time. Hell, ain't no secret. That's what I'm in here for. He's limp. You know, don't get me wrong. He's not one of those limp wrists. He's a Butch John. 9 to 10 people there. Cuban. You know, friends of Dave's been doing some stuff and speaks 5 languages. He knows philosophy, medicine, military. He fracked him because he was queer.
And that's where you met Oswald.
I was in a bad mood. Don't get excited. He's all right.
You said that this Leon was actually Lee Harvey Oswald.
Obsessed with Castro and Kennedy for months.
10,000 rounds, 3,000 pounds of gunpowder, all our weapons. I tell you.
Empty, how can we kill him?
The real problem getting at him, Castro has informers on every block.
Poison, just stick it in his food. He'd die in 3 days. No trace. We're gonna put some in his beard, make his beard fall out.
All kind of deals con ese hijo de la gran puta de Cruz.
Because I will kill. Right in the White House. I'll stab him right in the Somebody got to get rid of it. Want to invade Cuba? All we got to do is get Kennedy in open.
David, always some harebrained scheme.
3 mechanics in 3 different locations. An office building with a high-powered rifle. Diversionary shot gets the Secret Service looking the other way. Boom, you get the kill shot. The crucial thing is one man has to be sacrificed.
But this sort of thing could be so easily misunderstood.
I didn't think much about it at the time. Real scared. And that's when I got popped.
You realize the things you're saying, Willie, are going to be attacked by a lot of different people.
I got nothing to hide. You can't buy me. They can't buy me. I
buy
don't even
you.
need
Nobody-
this damn justice. No, this is about order. Who rules? Because, see, fascism is
All right,
coming
nobody
back.
wants to buy it.
Fascism
Nobody
is-
wants...
Nixon was going to be one of the great presidents to wreck this country. All over the place, that's for their damn rights. Why you think we got all this crime? Fascism is coming back. I'm going to tell you this. The day that communist son of a bitch died was a great day, a great day. Get out of here, I'm going to come see you. We can have some fun.
Hell, all 3 of them have reputations lower than crocodile pits.
I surely do. Did you vote for me?
I certainly did, sir. We're saying.
From the Dallas Times-Herald got some great shots of him. Took him to the sheriff's office, and they let him go. No record of him ever being questioned. Take a good look. Afraid collar, cuff, new haircuts, fresh shave, clean hands, new...
Saw those men at the picket fence?
Graveyard dead. August this year. Incident on Empty Road in Midlothian, Texas.
We need to find more witnesses, Lou.
Well, it was Rose Shermy. She said she was a dope runner for Jack Ruby. She dead, too. Hit and run.
Jack Ruby's been rotting away in a Dallas jail cell for 3 years. Maybe he's ready to crack.
CIA files on Oswald that were part of the Warren report and asked for them. There are about 1,200 documents. And can't get one of them. Marines at 17. He learns Russian. He acts overtly Marxist. A $1,500 ticket from a $203 bank account. He goes to Moscow.
Mr. Oswald, you're a Soviet citizen. I'm going to make known to them all information.
To a radio factory in Minsk where he lives as high on the hog as he has in rubles. A roomy apartment with a balcony. Has affairs with local girls. Or does any propaganda for the Russians. Francis Gary Powers' U-2 spy flight goes down in Russia. That plane was untouchable. Khrushchev and Eisenhower failed. I can't help thinking maybe someone in our military didn't want 1945 to 59.
How does he get back to the States? That's the point.
For revealing classified information, or as far as we know, debriefed by the CIA. The man who has defected once already. It's crazy. Ordinary people, they get blacklisted for having...
Go anyway with that country. You could go the way of communism.
But what you got there? You have a rifle in there? What are you shooting at? Rabbits or fascists?
Was introduced by George de Mohrenschildt to Janet and Bill Williams.
Exercise his intellect stacking school texts at $1.25 an hour.
Honey, she says that Lee is not sexually adequate. Lee hits her on several occasions.
At the age of 24, he rents a small room in Dallas under the alias of O.H. That allows Marina to move into her house, where she suddenly becomes Marina's best friend. I love Lee, and I sorry him.
With the public. Her description of him is that of a psychotic and violent man.
Lee shot Kennedy.
After they kept her locked away for 2 months surrounded by federal people and fearing she'd be deported back to Russia, they taught her how to answer. He hadn't even fired a rifle on November 22nd. And on top of that, they didn't... Well, it went to the FBI bill. FBI didn't find a goddamn thing. Suddenly finds a palm print. For all we know, it could have been taken off Oswald in the morgue. There's no chain of evidence. Frame him, obviously.
There's a lot of smoke.
And black is white. Just maybe Oswald is exactly what he said he was.
Man run from the fence toward those railroad cars.
I made it very clear. I saw the smoke come out 6 or 8 feet above the ground, right out from under those trees.
And saying about the same thing. The smoke came from behind the head.
I was who took the photograph when he was killed. Hey, Mr. President! Look over here! Mary fell to the ground right away. She was yelling, they're shooting, get out. I don't know what was wrong with that driver. I saw a flash of light in the bushes, and that last shot. I looked up, and I saw smoke coming from over there on the...
That morning, and we found a bunch. Cigarette butts, and someone had stood about here.
The headshot.
Even breathing. Like you were looking at a picture. Saw this one man running from the corner of the book depository over towards the parking lot.
I remember it being very noticeable because it had one of its wheels parked up on the side of the curb. And then when I saw the gun, I thought, morning on Saturday, I went down to the FBI office and the agents showed me some photographs and I picked out 3 pictures of him on TV. I was shocked. I turned to my family and I said, that's the man I saw in the truck.
Thought maybe our guys had shot back, and maybe we got one of them. When I got up to the parking lot.
I'm not. I don't know you. We gotta find the shooter.
I said you're coming with us. I want those pictures.
I don't have any, son of a bitch.
He put a hurt on me, but...
How many shots did you say you heard?
4 to 6.
That's impossible. You heard echo. You're willing to say.
No, sir. I saw a man shooting from over there behind that fence. Now, what are you going to do about that?
Heard 3 shots, and you're not to talk about this with anybody. No one. Do you understand me?
It was a fabrication from start to finish.
Well, that's what bothers me, Mr. Garrison, is they've been altered.
You know, everybody in those days knew Jack was a mob. Get down for the money in your pocket. There was this one case I'll never forget. Lee, I'd like you to meet my friend Lee.
I want you to meet my friend Lee Oswald.
He had these eyebrows. It kind of looked like a buzzard. I may not remember a name, but I always remember a face. Later, when I saw him on the television, I screamed, my God, that's him.
Will you testify, Beverly?
I think so.
No, I thought when we came here, we had an agreement.
I don't want to become another statistic
We
like
could call you in, Beverly. We could call you in.
President of the United States. You think they're going to think twice about a 2-bit showgirl like me?
Be any way of knowing any bit of the truth pertaining to my situation.
3 shots in 5.6 seconds. Here. I'm Oswald.
Seven seconds.
And that's without really aiming. Key is the second and third shots came almost right on top of each other. 3 seconds to recycle this thing. The other problem is there was a tree there, blocking the first 2 shots. That was worst shoulder weapon. When you try to hit a moving target at 88 yards through heavy foliage, none of their sharpshooters could match Oswald's performance. Not one. And Oswald was at best a medium shot. And they sold this lemon to the American public.
This brutal film is the proof that it Why not just shoot Kennedy coming up Houston? There's plenty of time.
Even if you miss him for the first shot, if he accelerates, you still got him for the second shot. No, the only reason for waiting to get him on Elm, triangulated crossfire.
How many men?
Okay. Now, 1 shooter. I'd say these professional riflemen, too, Chief. They're serious people. We kill with the rifle, Chief. Figure that's why there's been no execution of a chief executive with one in 200 years. Motorcade would have to slow down to about 10 miles per hour to make that turn down, and that's where he got Dallas.
Head of the CIA since '53. Kennedy fired them both.
Been to all the bars. Nobody wants...
Hey, Shaw.
Clay Bertrand is Clay Shaw.
Months before the assassination, there are sightings of Oswald all over down. Getting a telescopic sight fixed, going to rifle ranges. Early when Albert Bogart, take it out for test, like A.J. Foyt at the Indy 500. Bogart later told his boss he drove like a mad.
Now, Mr. Oswald, you can drive out of here.
What? What is he? To buy a car in this goddamn country anymore. Maybe I'll have to go to Russia and buy a car.
He decided he needs to practice on the target of the guy next to him.
I didn't pay 2 bits for a target just to...
Shooting at that son of a bitch, Kennedy.
Better settle as a cockroach.
He's given her information she doesn't even ask for. She's scared, doesn't see him again. Bad eyesight because they have Oswald in Mexico at this time trying to get back into Cuba.
This is Oswald. It must be our 3rd Oswald.
It's interesting the extent to which the Warren Commission went to make him a communist.
Did Oswald in the public's mind, but Oswald told Captain Fritz during his interrogation that the photo was fake. The shadows on the nose fall in a straight line like it's high noon, but the shadow down here on the ground reads more like late afternoon or pasted onto somebody else's body, implicating him with the rifle and the gun.
Well, who the hell are you, Alex Heidel or Lee Oswald?
To buy trucks for the Friends of Democratic Cuba. Salesman, never sees him again. But guess who's using the name Oswald to buy the trucks? Hoover at the FBI writes a memo dated June of 19...
They put Oswald together from day one, like some dummy corporation in the Bahamas. You just...
I'm Clay Bertrand.
Who?
Grab your socks and hose and pull. Clay Bertrand is Clay Shaw.
In
Vietnam today, 7 more American soldiers died and 23 were wounded. Enemy soldiers killed in action. President Johnson, meanwhile, said he regretted American troops are now fighting.
We face more cost, more loss.
With the kids, like we do every year.
No, I told you I was talking to Shaw.
Well, why in the world did you do it in the middle of Easter Sunday? A Sunday, not Easter Sunday.
Clay Shaw is important.
Well, we're not.
I didn't see.
You don't even know it, honey. The kids are missing out, too. You're not the only.
You just go ahead without me.
There
I'm
he
sorry,
is.
Mr. Shaw, to interrupt this whole. We're conducting. Your name has come up a number of times.
Wouldn't imagine where.
We recently talked to a number in with David Logan.
No, never.
Perry Russo.
No.
Willie O'Keefe. Later, you had him over for dinner at your apartment on Dauphine Street. You recall that?
Of course not. I don't know this man.
More details about the evening will refer by a uniformed waiter, colored man. He particularly remembered that you sat at one end and he at the
uncouth during dinner. Then my turning toward the kitchen, hollering, Frankie!
And you paid him to have sex.
With vivid imaginations, my dear Mr. Garrison. But grimy young hoodlums who will say and do anything.
David Ferry.
No, I don't believe I know anyone by that name. I'm sure I've never met anyone of such bizarre appearance.
Get this dude exactly what I said. I'm the man. Don't ever forget it.
Clay Bertrand.
Clay Bertrand.
Clay Bertrand. I believe there was a man with a name similar to that worked over the Chamber of Commerce. Is that the man you had?
Have you ever met Lee Harvey Oswald?
You really have me consorting with a sordid cast of characters. Pity that assassination. In fact, I admired President Kennedy, a man of true panache, wife of...
Honesty be.
Daddy never keeps his promises.
Creature of the CIA for the transfer of funds in Italy for illegal political espionage activity. It says that this company was expelled to provide arms to David Barr and his Cubans.
Mr. Garrison, you're reaching.
Am I?
I'm an international to Latin America. I trade everywhere. I am accused, as are all businessmen, of all things.
You ever been a contract agent for the Central Intelligence Agency?
Listen, do you believe I would be here today talking to somebody like you? Go.
People like you, they just walk between the raindrops.
This because you over there.
Regardless of
At the
what
ending.
you may
States military, serving and defending this great country, Mr. Shaw. And you're the first person I ever met who considered an act of patriotism to murder his own president.
All the questions we have. Thank you for your honesty and for coming in today.
I enjoyed meeting you. Extend to each of you and to each of your families my best wishes for a happy Easter.
May smile and be a villain. God damn it, we got one of them. Did you see that? The meeting took much longer than expected. Just a second, James.
We waited. I think you care more about John Kennedy than your own family. All day the kids are asking, where's Daddy?
Make sure they grow up in a country where justice won't be an arcane, vanished idea they read about in history books.
That sounds real
Like
dandy.
the dinosaurs or the...
Killed President Kennedy. Was there a conspiracy here in New Orleans?
Excuse me,
Page 1. And it ain't pretty. It says we've spent more than $8,000 on unexplained travel and investigative...
Public records, they got the vouchers that we requested for the withdrawal.
Shaw must have gotten him on our table.
Well, getting angry doesn't accomplish a damn thing. We pull out now or we go through some heavy flack together. One of you want to pull out now. I assure you, I will bear no ill feelings towards that person. I'll reassign you to regular duties.
It's going crazier than bugs on a cake.
Neither confirm, deny, nor discuss.
Has he uncovered some valuable new evidence? Or is he merely saying...
Did you plan it?
If you think we're out of our minds, the whole building's been a zoo since that broke.
Somebody tipped off the press. I'm one of the suspects. I can't go home.
The story, don't jump to conclusions.
Look, meet me in the lobby, the Fontainebleau, in 20 minutes.
He likes mine.
Investigation?
Who you scared of, Dave?
Me? Everybody. Agency, mob, Cubans. I'll be writing this down. I ain't cooperating here with no one. What's going on here? There's a death warrant for me. Don't you get it, Lou? Are you?
Dave, I always play square, no bugs. I love to have you go on the record, but...
Why'd you guys have to go and get me involved with this?
Did we get you involved, or did Clay Shaw?
I taught him everything. He's a wannabe, you know? Nobody really liked him because they thought he was a snitch. But I treated him good.
Did you ever work for the CIA?
You make it sound like some experience in ancient history. Man, you don't leave the agency. Shaw's an untouchable, highest clearance. Shaw, Oswald, the Cubans, all agency. We almost had Castro with us, then we tried to whack him. Everybody's Operation Mongoose. Government, Pentagon stuff. They're in charge.
Then who killed the president?
Oh, man, why don't you stop it? It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma. I don't know what happened.
Just talk to us on the record. We'll protect you. I guarantee it.
Get to you two. They'll destroy you. They're untouchable, man.
The president, Mr. Garrison, is too busy.
Boss, I'm telling you, something or somebody's put tremendous heat on Dave.
Now he might freeze up. We'll lose the best shot we ever
You guys
had.
don't get it, do you? He can't go down any further. We told the teams to watch Ferry. Listen, I gave this man my word. This is our case.
Oh, found this in your office. We think the conference room is also bugged, maybe the phones. We're going to have to debug the whole place.
Bugging the DAs.
Handle it. Right? I don't have time for this nonsense.
Dave Fair's dead. Found his body in his apartment a couple hours ago.
What's it look like, Nick?
I don't see any violence, Jim. Maybe an aneurysm.
That is loathsome. Goes on and on.
Lord.
Raises the metabolism.
Mario Del Valle today, hacked to death with a machete in his car with an axe.
Ain't that the devil's purse?
Find another note. Same thing.
High bottle of Prolord.
He died pretty quick. Either a heart storm or ruptured
Himself in a way that leaves no trace.
How many corpses is it going to take before you lawyers figure out what's
You
going
watch your
on,
mouth,
son?
please. Barrett did this to himself.
Here, Big Jim gave strict orders. No FBI allowed.
It's you I want to talk to, Bill.
No. Boss will fry me in. I want to hear this.
We're talking about your career here, Bill. Your life. You're a young guy. We know you're working at Castro's and people are going to die. And that's a hell of a lot more important than Jim Garrison. God damn it, look at me when I talk to you. You're goddamn too selfish.
I can't.
A false name, but I won't. Just call me X.
I've already been warned.
Closer than you think. Tell you is classified top secret. As a soldier, Mr. Garrison applies the military hardware, the planes, bullets, rifles, for what we call black operation. World War II, I was in Romania, Greece, Yugoslavia, France, 49. Broke the strike. We were in Vietnam in 54, Indonesia 58, Tibet 59. Got the Dalai Lama up. Take place in October 62. Khrushchev sent the missiles to resist the invasion. Kennedy didn't invade. Planned for getting all U.S. personnel out of Vietnam by the end of 1965.
Vietnamese President Diem in Saigon in 2 weeks before the assassination of our president.
You are going to the South Pole.
I am?
You are. Dr. Mooney's got all the details of
VIPs. I was on my way back in New Zealand. First had the entire history of this unknown 24-year-old man, Oswald. Studio picture, detailed biographical. More hours before they even charged him with that crime in Dallas. The story was being put out.
Stories.
Stand down that day over the protests of the unit commander, Colonel Reich.
I believe it's a mistake.
This had not allowed the bubble top to be removed from the limousine. We would have placed at least 100 to 200 agents on the sidewalk, would have arrived days ahead of time, studied the route, checked all the buildings, never would have allowed all those wide open empty. Watching the crowd, packages, rolled up newspapers, coat over an arm, never would have let a man open an umbrella along the way. Violation of the most basic protection codes we have. And it is the best indication of a massive plot in Dallas. Black ops, Mr. Garrison. People in my business, people like my superior officer could have called Colonel Reich and said, look, we won the assassination. Does that sound like a bunch of coincidences to you, Mr. Garrison? Telephones didn't work to get the wrong stories from spreading if anything went wrong with the plan. Nothing was left to chance. But when he was appointed to investigate Kennedy's death, the man who had fired him, Dallas, by the way, was General Wise, Benefit, Oswald, Ruby, Cuba. Instructed General Lemnitz, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, that from here on forward, the Joint Chiefs of Staff would be wholly responsible for all covert paramilitary. Did as JFK promised he would into 1,000 pieces, and now he was ordering the military. Dulles, Richard Bissell, and General Charles Cabell, all of them sacred cows and intel since World War II. Goose was pure black ops. It was secretly based in the South Campus of Miami, annually over hundreds of millions of dollars. 300 agents. 7,000 selected this country. Now we had the people, the equipment, the bases, and the motivation. And the helicopter. Who owns Bell? Well, Bell was nearly bankrupt when the First National Bank of Boston approached the CIA about the loans that. Find out the defense budget since the war began. 75, going on 100 billion. With the Soviets, he signed a treaty with the Soviets to ban nuclear testing. He refused to invade Cuba in 1962 to draw from Vietnam.
Kennedy was not going to go to war in Southeast Asia.
Damn Vietnam!
Saying if we didn't go into Cuba, which is so close, why should we go into Vietnam, which is...
People in the loop, they fight back.
their way.
We have to control the intelligence from Saigon.
Actors, big oil bankers, just conversations, nothing more. Then a call. He must die. There's been no vote, nothing's on paper. There's no one to blame. He's guilty because everyone in the power structure who knows anything has a plausible deniability. There are no traitors must be on the winning side and never subject to prosecution for anything by anyone is a coup d'etat. General Y flies in the assassins. Maybe from the special camp we keep outside Athens. Really matter who shot from what rooftop? Till they buried Kennedy.
Gentlemen, I want you to know I'm not going to let Vietnam go like China did. Take one soldier out of there till they know we mean business in Asia. Then I'll give you a damn war.
Hey, the Vietnam War. My word for it. Don't believe me. Do your own work, your own thinking.
Testify.
No chance in hell. Person to bring a trial in the murder of John Kennedy. That's important. It's historic. A threat to the national security structure. They would have killed you already, but you got a lot of light on you.
Under arrest, charged with conspiracy and entering into an agreement with other persons for the specific purpose of committing the crime John F. Kennedy. We have a warrant.
Any aliases?
Clay Burton. Not mentioned once in the entire 26 volumes of the Warren Report, even if it is to clear his name.
That Lee Oswald was the lone
Chief Justice of the land as a character witness, who is, of course, not under oath and free from the laws of perjury. You cannot trust anyone anymore when you cannot tell the truth. When you be done, though the heavens fall.
Involving New Orleans businessman Clay Shaw in the murder of John F. Kennedy.
They said they'd get me a pardon.
Janet Williams comments on Willie O'Keefe's descriptions of having met Oswald.
That call was a figment of my imagination.
Personally, I think he's cool.
Jim Garrison has said, quote, "Let justice be done though the heavens fall."
Garrison's daughter?
Yes?
Your daddy's entered you in a beauty contest. Would you like to be in a beauty contest?
Honey,
3 o'clock every day? Okay, Virginia, that's all I need to know.
Mom, did you enter Virginia in a beauty contest? A man just called. He wanted to know everything, her height, her weight, where she...
Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis.
Honey, your daughter's life, a kidnapper, a murderer.
It's not taking him
What's
seriously.
going on in this house anymore? You're too busy making the kids. I'm leaving. I can't stand it anymore.
The government wants you to be scared.
You and your
right?
government.
The government wants everybody to be scared.
What kind of man are you?
Get a bodyguard. Just get hold of yourself.
Honey, before this Kennedy thing, nothing mattered in this world more than your children. And sure?
God damn it, if I said I'll spend more time with him, I'll spend more time with him. All right? Now, I cannot fight you and the whole world, too. Of course I've changed. My eyes are open.
James, man.
And once...
See, goddammit, I'm tired. I've had enough. You're ruining this man Shaw's life. You're attacking him because he's a homosexual. Let's stop to consider what he was feeling.
All this time, you never believed me.
I just want to raise our children and live a normal life.
You sound like some goddamn ostrich, Liz. It's not about our well-being, all right? It's not about our 2 cars and our TVs and your kitchen.
Talk to me this way before Jim.
If you don't want to support me, fine, I can understand that, but don't go start making threats about taking the children.
I'm not making any threats. I'm leaving you.
You get plenty of people to tell you I'm crazy. You won't have any problems filling out your divorce papers on me.
Are the same people gonna kill us, Pop?
No, Jasper. Nobody's gonna kill us.
When you and Mommy fight,
I know, I don't...
you love us anymore?
Daddy loves both of you. It can be a scary thing sometimes. You scared President Kennedy, and he was a brave man. The bad guys take over the country, don't you?
It'll be near impossible, Chief, to prove Shaw's connection to the CIA.
What the hell is going on? I never before had the civil rights movement was running a voters registration drive. Rumor is Shaw ain't local. Whites and colored saw him, but last time I checked, there was nothing illegal with registering. The boss, nobody wants to talk about Shaw. He's just...
You keep saying that. You're not digging.
I keep saying what?
You're not digging.
3 visits to Janet Williams' house, supposedly to keep present. She was not a citizen, so possibly he was threatening to deport her back to Russia. Tore it up, flushed down the toilet.
Rid of it, Hosty. It's just speculation, people, but what if the note was describing this? The reason to destroy it. Because if it was any kind of threat, like Hostess said, they would have kept it. I think we can raise the possibility that Oswald not only was an informant, Alex was removed from all the files in all the cities as an obvious embarrassment to the Bureau. He would have to reverse his policies on communism. Order. He was a foot soldier.
Alexa disappears from every single FBI office in this country.
For the FBI's complicity.
Maybe I got just a little bit more respect for this country's institutions. A conspiracy going on between the mob, the CIA, the FBI, and Army intelligence, and who the hell knows? In fact, you can't keep a secret in this room between 12 people. The hell do we really got? Oswald, Ruby, Bannister, Farrell are dead, male because of his homosexuality.
Shaw's our toehold, Bill. Now, I don't know exactly what he is or where he fits, and I don't really care.
But you're gonna lose. We should be investigating our mafia leads here in New Orleans. Now, I can buy that a hell of a lot easier than I can the government. And, the government doesn't want to open up a whole can of worms there because it used the mob to try to get the cast.
The FBI, the CIA, and the Dallas police to make a mess of the investigation. I mean, could the mob get the Warren Commission appointed to cover it up? Military-style ambush from start to finish. This was a coup d'etat with Lyndon Johnson waiting in the wings.
Oh, okay, so now you're saying Lyndon Johnson was involved? Boss,
just for opening.
Boss, are you calling the president a murderer?
Well, if I'm so far from the truth, why is the FBI bugging our office? Our extraditions and subpoenas when we were never blocked
I don't know.
before.
I don't. Maybe there's some rogue element in the government.
Killed Caesar. 10, 12 senators, Pentagon, CIA.
This is Louisiana, Chief. I mean, how the hell do you know who your daddy is? Because your mama told you so. Not going along on this one.
Broussard wasted a whole damn month trying to prove that mob boys like Jack Ruby and Brading are hooked up with Hunt All.
I said I will not tolerate infighting among the staff.
I'm afraid I cannot work with Bill Broussard.
I will not have any damn ultimatums put to me, Lou. I'll accept your resignation.
Well, you sure got it.
You're one stubborn son of a bitch.
President Kennedy, you know, I must say, we've heard some strange things coming out of your office in New Orleans. That the CIA and the FBI and the Pentagon and the White House all combined in some elaborate conspiracy you think didn't conspire to kill the president.
Premier of Russia had been shot from a Moscow office building by a lonely capitalist sympathizer who himself was then liquidated by a patron to any free-thinking person that a coup d'etat and a transfer of power had just taken place in the Soviet Union. Now, we would not be asking thinking society, be asking hard questions about why he was killed and what forces were opposed to him.
Jim, you know, there are some people who might...
Minutes after the assassination. Now, they were never shown to the American public.
Jim, I'm sorry, these pictures can't show up on TV.
They were arrested in Dallas minutes after the assassination. They were never seen again. No record of arrest, no mugshot, no fingerprint.
After these commercials.
Who were they?
This is realistic. 21 more content.
Bill, what the hell are you doing here?
I'm sorry about the other day, Chief. Attempt to kill you somewhere between here and New Orleans.
Did you have a chance to find out what order meant?
Yeah.
You happen to remember my order and everyone on the staff not to participate in passing on these endless rumors about how I appreciate your inability to follow a simple order, especially when it means I'm personally going to end up paying for your flight back to New Orleans.
Someone's following him.
Come on, sit here.
Jim, where are you going? It's me, Samuel.
How long are you in that restaurant,
None of your
mister?
goddamn business. No, don't turn it down. Turn it up. I want to see this.
Opinion polls
show
show
you
Senator
know what's
Robert
happening.
Kennedy
Don't kill him.
obviously striking a
He'll
strong
stop the
chord with
war.
voters. Whoever wins tonight will
They're going to
certainly
kill him
emerge
before they let him be president.
With
I
Broussard,
think
they
it's going to
have
tie it over
everything.
that.
All our witnesses are...
Agree with Al, boss. This is not one we're going to come out on.
You remember the Hemingway story? The odds to nail Clayshaw on a conspiracy charge. In the court of public opinion, it could take another 25, 30 years.
What if you're wrong?
I never thought for a second I was, honey. Yes.
48 to 41% over Senator McCarthy. CBS News has projected Senator Robert...
The divisions, whether it's between blacks and whites, between the poor and the more affluent, or between age groups or on the war in Vietnam, and a compassionate country. And I intend to make that my basis for running and over the period of my life. Go and let's put it there.
Every time.
Shot. We don't know how serious it is, but we do know that Senator Kennedy
killed Robert Kennedy. They shot him down.
Oh, my God. Both of them. Both brothers. You were right.
For the first time, I feel really scared. I feel like I didn't ever love you or the children.
The man who shot the president. I remember him because of his limp.
Man right there. He dropped Oswald off on the voters line. I remember because they were the only white strangers around that morning.
The oyster shucking you, I told him. You got the right ta-ta, but the wrong ho-ho. What?
Against Dean Andrews on this matter.
Exception taken. That case is on appeal. You met David Ferry and Clay Shaw on a vacation trip from your accounting business in New York. You had drinks, fingerprinted your daughter when she went to Louisiana State University?
Yes, sir, I did.
And is it not also true that you fingerprinted her when...
To make sure that she was the same girl I sent away.
Officer Aloysius Haberhorst to the stand.
I'm going to have to ask the jury to leave the courtroom.
Gentlemen.
Defendant did not have his lawyer present when asked.
From time immemorial, it's been standing booking procedure to ask an alien.
I call him... That's our case! If that's your case, you didn't have a case. I wouldn't believe anything Habergard.
You know what he looked like if it hadn't been for the pictures I've been shown.
Did you ever use the alias Clay Bertrand?
No.
Well, a very great actor has involving Clay Shaw. We must first prove that there was more than one man involved in the assassination. Look at the Zapruder film, which my office has subpoenaed. That film, because it has been kept locked away in a vault for the last 5 years in the Time Life building in New York City. Watch. Picture speaks 1,000 words, doesn't it? 3 bullets, 1 assassin. But 2 unpredictable things happened that day that made it virtually impossible. One, Abraham Zapruder, while standing near the grassy knoll. A wounded man, James Tague, who was nicked by a fragment while standing near the triple underpass. It's established by the Zapruder film. Left no possibility of a full shot. Had to come from one of the 3 bullets fired from the 6th floor of the depository. It was the fatal headshot that killed Kennedy. Bullet now has to account for the remaining 7 wounds in Kennedy and Conley. The grossest lies ever forced on the American people. Magic bullet theory. An angle of 17 degrees. It then moves upwards in order to leave Kennedy's body from the front of his 6 seconds. Presumably in midair, where it turns right, then left, right, then left, 27 degrees, shattering Conley's 5th rib and exiting from the right. Conley's body at his right wrist. Wound number 5. Shattering the radius bone, the bullet then exits Conley's wrist, turn, and buries itself into Conley's left thigh. Wound number 7, from which it later falls out, condition, on a stretcher in a corridor of Parkland Hospital. Combat will tell you never in the history of gunfire has there been a bullet this ridiculous. Fancy physics in a nuclear laboratory. Of course they can. Theoretical physics can prove that an elephant can have an identical bullet fired through the wrist of a human cadaver, bone smashed by the magic bullet. Conclude the magic bullet could not create all 7 of those wounds? You have to conclude that there was a 4th shot. And by definition, there had to be a conspiracy. Combat vet. Right behind, Gene Hill and Mary Moorman. S.M. Holland, Richard Dodd, father of 2 children, who hit the deck on the north side of Elm. Trained medical personnel at Parkland Hospital saw with their own eyes the back of the president's head blasted out.
Beta opening in the right occipital parietal area. Back of the head had been blasted next to a flap of scalp. The exit hole in the rear of his head measured about 120 millimeters.
He was illegally moved to Washington for the autopsy. Because when a coup d'etat has occurred, there's a big difference between an autopsy that is performed by military doctors under order with the newly sworn-in president.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
On the plain nut solution beginning to take its shape.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Hospital doctors picked by the military.
FBI, here.
Colonel Fink, are you saying someone told you not to dissect them?
Family wanted examination.
53 grand.
As a pathologist, it was your Fink not dissect the tract of the bullet wound.
Obvious tracheotomy. Well, I heard Dr. Hume stating that
I can feel the end of the wound with my finger.
that won't be necessary.
Who's in charge here?
I am. I don't remember his name. I have to ask people for their names and who they are.
But you were a qualified pathologist. Was this Army general a qualified pathologist? An autopsy?
No.
No.
No, because there were others.
There were others.
There were others. There were Admiral Army. You just follow orders.
Outside this room.
As I recall, it was Admiral Kenny.
It's none of the American people's business. The chief pathologist, Commander Humes, by his own admission, voluntarily burned his autopsy clues to be immediately washed and rebuilt. He sends John Connolly's bloody suit right to the cleaner and denied this office access to the autopsy government. That the president's brain has disappeared. Epileptic seizure around 12:15 p.m., distracting the police, making it easier for the shooters to move into their places. Floors in the depository that week, which allowed unknown workmen in and out of the building. Video talking to the other two teams has the best overall view. The God spot, floor of the Daltex building. The third team, the C team, moves in behind the picket fence above the grassy knoll. They have the best position of all. Kennedy is close and on a flat, low trajectory. Men are down in the crowd on L. 10 to 12 men, 3 teams, 3 shooters. Barry discussed too much before. They've walked the plaza, shot for a single shooter in the book depository. They wait. They wait till he gets to the killing zone between or aboard. Aboard. The first shot rings out. Sounding like a backfire, it misses the car completely, then slightly to the right. Frame 193, the second shot hits Kennedy in the throat from the front. The road sign, you can see that he's obviously been hit, raising his arms to his throat, pulling him downward and forward. Conley, you will notice, shows no signs at all of being hit. 238, the fourth shot. It misses Kennedy and takes Conley in the back. Going to kill us all. Somewhere around this time now, another shot that misses the car completely. It's a fatal shot. Frame 313 takes Kennedy in the head. Inconsistent with the shot from the depository. Again, back, and to the left. So what happens then? Here we go, everybody. Parking lot behind the picket fence. He smells gunpowder.
The character produced credentials from his pocket that showed him to be Secret Service. Kept at that and let him go and continued the search. But I regretted it because this guy looked like an auto mechanic.
Before or after the shooting, till Dallas Secret Service Chief Forrest Sorrells returned at 12:55. Record of their arrest. Men acting like hobos were being pulled off trains, marked photographed, and yet there's no records of their...
As usual, appeared to be having his lunch. I didn't speak to...
Security guard up there. 6th floor window. Presumably after Bonnie Ray Williams had finished his lunch and left. John Powell, prisoner on the assassin, he was certainly pretty nonchalant about moving himself into position. Later, he told Dallas police he was in the 2nd floor snack room.
You know this man is an employee.
Yes, he is. The president's been shot. But what the Warren Commission would have us believe is that after firing 3 bolts by side in the firing nest, wipes the rifle clear of fingerprints, stashes the rifle on the other side of the lot, and shows up cool and calm on the 2nd floor in front of Patrolman Baker. All this within a maximum of 90 seconds. He is the sole assassin. Oswald is now free to escape from the building. The longer he delays, the more chance the building will be sealed by shots have been fired from there. Nobody seals the book depository for 10 more minutes. Oswald slips out, as do several other people. The president killed in spite of his warning. Now came to Oswald for the very first time. His rooming house around 1 p.m., a half hour after the assassination.
A man shot the president.
She heard 2 beeps on a car horn, and 2 uniformed cops pulled up to the house where Oswald was in his room like it was a signal. Now, giving the government the benefit of the doubt,
Excuse me,
Oswald would have had to jog a mile in 6 to 11 minutes. And then... Why else would Oswald kill Tippett unless he'd just shot the president and feared arrest? Domingo Benavidez, the killer, was never taken to a lineup. Akila Clemens saw the killer with another man. Are not on the 3 cartridge cases which the Warren Commission present to him. As early as 12:44, only 14 minutes, he begins to realize the full implications of this thing. He goes into the Texas Theater, possibly his prearranged meeting point ticket, and Brewer has the cashier call the police. In response to the cashier, be the most remarkable example of police intuition since the Reichstag fire. This crowd is waiting to scream at him. Lee Oswald must have felt like Joseph K. in Kafka's Trial. He's never made of the long questioning. By the time the sun rises the next morning, he is booked for murdering the president. Eddie Lee Harvey Oswald is brought out like a sacrificial lamb and nicely disposed of as an enemy of the people. Grave under the name Oswald? Nobody. Statements and press leaks about Lee Oswald circulate the globe. The official legend is created and the media takes it from there. I always said, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. By killing a president was only the first in a long line of patsies. We remove our guilt by making murder a meaningless act of a loner. Most of John F. Kennedy confronts us with the secret murder at the heart of the American dream, where a president can be assassinated under conspicuously suspicious circumstances while the machinery of legal action scatters heart attacks, suicides, cancers, drug overdoses. How many airplane and car crashes will occur before they are exposed for what they did? Crucial evidence. The answer from on high has always been national security. It permits the removal of fundamental power from the hands of the American people and validates the ascendancy of invisible government in the United States. It smells like it, feels like it, and looks like it. The tragic result was the reversal of President Kennedy's commitment to withdraw from Vietnam. Business in America worth $80 billion a year. Fanatical and disciplined cold warriors in the Pentagon and CIA's covert operation apparatus. Among them, Clay Shaw here before you. Secret Service, the FBI, and the White House, all the way up to, including J. Edgar Hoover and Lyndon Johnson. People say I'm crazy. Southern caricature seeking higher assassination. Your former president, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and your new president, Richard Nixon, to release the 51 CIA documents pertaining to Lee Harvey Oswald because you might possibly lynch those involved. You cannot see these documents for another 75. The National Archives and find out what the CIA and the FBI knew. Like the Declaration of Independence says to when the old one ain't working, just a little farther out west. A patriot must always be ready to defend his country against its government. We've seen much hidden evidence the American public has never seen. Individual human beings have to create justice, and this is not easy. Tim Holland, Lee Bowers, Gene Hill, Willie O'Keefe, they've all taken that risk. They've all come forward. Dollars in these letters sent from housewives, plumbers, car salesmen, teachers, invalids. They can't afford to send money, but do, because they care. Because they want to know the truth. It still belongs to us, as long as the people have the guts to fight for what they believe in. Government murders truth. If we cannot respect the hearts of these people, then this is not the country in which I was born in, and it's certainly not the country that I want to die in. Authority forgets a dying king. Kennedy, whose murder was probably one of the most terrible moments in the first conviction in this house of cards against Clay Shaw, show this world that this is still a government of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Big space.
And the verdict to the clerk.
The jury find the defendant, Clay Shaw, not guilty.
Part of it, another kill of fish.
There's Jim. There's Jim.
Done an investigation in the light of day, even questioning the intelligence operations of the United
Clay Shaw's reputation. Mr. Garrison, are you going to resign?
Hell no. I'm going to run again. It takes me 30 years to nail every one of the assassins, and I will continue this investigation for 30 years.
No sure the story is actually real or fiction. And some smaller movie, I don't have to see the real documents on this one. But the story in music is actually really well done. Great acting. So I end up the